Hey guys, my name is Craig Rodgers, and this is my 2019 in the bag. As a lot of you guys know, I switched to all Prodigy for 2019, so that's all what all my discs are going to be. We'll start with the distance drivers. I carry several different molds and several different ones. My favorite go-to disc is the 400 plastic D1Max. This is actually the Cale Leiviska Stamp D1Max, and this was actually the first one that I had. As a result, it's super beat up. I throw it flat, it'll get the full S-curve and finish really light to the left. And I like it so much, I have two of them, same plastic. This one is a little bit more stable. I throw this one in headwinds, which is something that not a lot of people can do with it. A lot of people think it's too understable to throw in the headwinds, but this one will still finish straight for me. Moving on, because I'm a fan of the new Max series, I got the D2Max. I actually ordered this 3 days before my birthday, and it came on my birthday, which was one day after they released it. This is in the 400 plastic as well, and as you'll see, most of my discs are in the 400 plastic. I use this one primarily for forehands. It flips right up to flat with a reliable hyzer finish at the end for me. In the windy weather, and especially in headwinds, I use a regular D1. This is the 750G plastic. It's domier than I thought it would be, but the stiff 750G plastic really makes it finish hard to the left. A lot of people think they're too understable to use. I haven't had an issue with that. I think they're just stable enough to play in with windy weather, but this is a newer addition to my bag, and I'm really loving it so far for those hard hyzers. Moving on to my water disc, this one doesn't float, but it's a 400G D3, and it comes with this really swirly, nice plastic. I throw this primarily on anhyzer, backhand anhyzer, and it'll get the full S-curve and then still finish a little bit farther to the right, which is nice. I use this a lot also for shaping shots in the woods, and the wide rim and the comfortable 400G plastic really makes it feel nice in the hand. I did find the rim is a little sharp when I first got it, but other people had complained about that as well, but I think it's a really great disc. I like the D3 so much, I grabbed another one. This is actually one I won in a contest. This is a 400 plastic Street Team Stamp D3, which when thrown flat will tip right for me and then finish hard to the left. Really good for shaping shots, and in the wind it'll continue to fly right and finish right for me, nice and straight. Now the weird one, this is a 400G D6. I throw this for rollers, backhand rollers, and then weird forehand flick rollers out of the woods. I'm finding that I use it more often now for the backhand rollers. It's a good disc. Like I said, the 400G plastic feels really great in the hand, and the color makes it nice and tough to find in the woods. Lots of fun. And then my last distance driver, not a driver that I throw very often, but I have a 400 plastic X3. If I throw this flat, it's nice and straight. It'll continue straight for me, just hyzer out right at the very end. I use this for those mid fairway shots kind of that I can't really decide if I need a fairway driver or a driver. This is what I'm reaching for. It's a really good disc. I've liked it so far, but I just don't throw it as much as the other ones. Moving on to my hybrid drivers. I carry a few of them, 3 of them. This is a 400 plastic H2. I use this kind of as a utility disc. I got it from Dan Mitchell, my one friend, and super overstable. It's kind of slower. The nubby rim on it makes it a lot slower. And like I said, don't throw it very often, but I do use it for odd shots, really hard hyzers, and smaller approaches. So, and then my most thrown hybrid disc. This is an H3V2 in 400 plastic. You can see it. Yes, it's clear. A lot of my discs are clear. But this is dead straight with a very, very tiny hyzer at the very end. In headwinds, it'll flip over and go right, which is nice to have the understability option. Believe it or not, it's also good for forehand flick rollers. Flicking out of the woods, it's really good. It'll continue. The nice sharp edge will just drive it straight. So that's the H3V2. And then my final hybrid driver is the H5. Very, very understable. If I throw it flat, it'll tank off to the right, which is really good for shaping shots in the woods. And those reliable backhand anhyzer shots. This is my most favorite understable disc, I would say. Next we'll move on to the fairway drivers. I have 3 of them, all clear. We'll start with the 400 F1. Very domey, and it's very overstable. I actually throw this on hard hyzers. I actually threw it more before I got my D1, the new D1 that I just got. And it's a very, very overstable. It is a reliable hyzer finish at the end, and will actually skip most times too, the nice soft 400 plastic that it has. Moving on, this is my most thrown fairway driver. This is a double stamped Prodigy F2 in 750 plastic. The 750 plastic makes it very stiff and doesn't beat in as fast, but very straight, very reliable. It's one of my favorite discs that I throw. And then one of my prettiest discs, this is a F3. This is the Proto F3 in 400 plastic. It's clear. Straight to understable. It depends on the wind conditions, but if you throw it flat, it does have the tendency to leak off to the right before really dumping left at the very end. So, but really good feel in the hands. It does have a nubbier edge, which slows it down a little, but it's a very controlled disc. Next we'll move on to mid-ranges. I have 3 mid-ranges. We'll start with the 750 M1. This is a very overstable M1. It has a very nice hyzer finish at the end, and I use it for those high, wide spike hyzers and something that I need to definitely dump off to the left. This is a lighter one. This is one of the lighter discs in my bag. Not the lightest, but one of the lighter ones. And is slowly becoming one of my more sought-after mid-ranges. So the M1. And then we have an Kevin Jones signature 750 Spectrum M3. This is dead straight, very domey. Throws a lot like a traditional catch frisbee. I find that the edge feels a lot like a traditional catch frisbee, even though it doesn't have the ridges on top. But it's very easy to find in the woods, which is nice. And if you throw it on a little bit of hyzer, it'll flip up to flat and then finish with a nice hyzer finish, usually right by the basket. This is the disc that I approach the most with. Usually outside of 100 to 150 feet, and I like it a lot. When it comes to longer mid-range throws, this is a double stamped first run M4 in 400 plastic, 400G plastic, I'm sorry, and this is my favorite mid-range. When thrown flat, you'll get your full S-curve. It'll come back really, really reliably. You can throw it on a hard anhyzer and hold that the whole way. It's understable, but not too understable. The plastic feels really good in your hands, and it's super flat, which makes it really good for just kind of flopping up towards the basket when you need to get out of sticky situations. Next we'll move on to the approach discs. I have two of them, varying plastics. We'll start with the one I don't throw very often. This is a 300 plastic A2. Very, very soft plastic, and this thing is super overstable, like dumps hard to the left hard. This is my utility disc, my go-to utility disc. I enjoy this disc a lot for straight up and down hyzers, getting out of weird spots and approaching the basket from odd angles when I'm off in the woods. Didn't really like it at first, but as I've kind of beaten it up a little bit, it's started to get a little bit less stable. So, but I use it, like I said, primarily as a utility disc, and it's good for getting out of the woods and other sticky situations. And then my most thrown approach disc, this is a 350 A4. The edge on this, the rim on this is really weird looking, but it has like a double rim almost. You can't really see it on the camera, but it does have like a double edge. This, when you throw it hard and flat, will carry really far. I compare it a lot to a buzz almost, like a smaller diameter buzz. But it does have a reliable hyzer finish at the end when you put it on a hyzer. This is what I pick up when I can't decide to throw a mid-range or a putter. It works for me really well. And this is the lightweight plastic, the 350 lightweight plastic. Doesn't really work so well in the wind, but on a nice calm day or in a tailwind, it'll just fly for you. So that's all the approach discs. We'll move on to the putters. I carry 3 putters. We'll start with the one I don't throw very often. This is a 300 PA2. Overstable. It has like a micro bead on the underside. I don't putt with this very often. I use this for shorter approach shots or over water shots where I need the disc to come back. But it's pretty straight when you throw it hard. It's very overstable. And the 300 plastic on this disc is actually even stiffer than a lot of the other 300 plastics. I was surprised when I first got it. This is my most thrown putter. This is a Paul Ulibarri Signature Core Team PA3 in 350 plastic. It's very stiff, a lot stiffer than the other 350 plastic putter that I have. This is a beaded putter. This is my go-to putting putter. It has a very nice, reliable hyzer finish at the end and will hyzer right into the base of the chains and stick. The nice, soft, but stiffer 350 plastic makes it so it really grabs the chains but has more of a stiffer putter feel. So if you like the stiffer putters, the 350 plastic will be awesome for you. And then finally we have a 350G PA4. This has got the American flag stamp on it, which I find really cool. This is my throwing putter. This is an understable putter. You throw this flat and it'll anhyzer off to the right. But you can also use it for some really great S-curves and shaping other shots in the woods. I do throw this a lot in the woods. This is also one of my nice approach discs that I use. Like I said, its understability kind of makes it not really usable in the wind. You can, but even if you throw it on a hard hyzer, it'll flip right up to flat and then hyzer off at the end. So those are all of my discs. We'll talk about my bag next. I have the Prodigy BP2, the 2019 version. It's brand new with the PA disc golf pin, the limited edition PA disc golf pin. And yes, this is silverware hanging from here. I'm trying out some new bag tag ideas, but they have come in handy. All in all, though, this is a really sturdy, solid bag. The straps on it are really well built, double stitching. The pockets, I can fit my whole jacket into one of the side pockets, and it has dual cup holders. And then you can fit 2 putters up top and 1 in the front, so definitely working for me. Well, this has been my In the Bag. I really appreciate it, and you can look out for me in events coming up.